Hello and welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday. I'm Lisa and I think we are live. I hope we're live. We are now streaming live on Facebook. Okay, cool. Today on Tea and New Book Tuesday, we're going to talk about some Christmas titles. I thought going into the Thanksgiving long weekend, it would be nice if I could come up with some Christmas titles that came out in 2020, so this year, that are still available at least one branch of Mobile Public Library. But we've got, let's get to our slides. Maybe. Sure. That one. Even though I actually want, and this thing is in my way. There we go. Move me over. Go to present. There we go. Yes. Tea and New Book Tuesday. Here we go. Okay. So I'm drinking Earl Grey green tea, which is quite nice. I had not tried this before. As always, it needs a little sugar, but still. For this week's giveaway, I thought in the Christmas spirit, I would give away books to the first 15 people who comment. And for your comment this week, I was planning at the end of, for December, I was planning on doing 2 weeks of January new titles and then 2 weeks of the best books of 2020. But I started organizing all of my titles for 2021 yesterday, basically. And January has a huge number of new titles, like a ridiculous number of new titles. I think you guys probably heard me complain about it in October. October was like 7 pages worth of books. January is already 6 pages and things keep getting added to it. So I'm going to put the choice to you. Do you want as many January titles as possible? So all of December would cover January. Or would you like an episode that is the best books of 2020? Tell me that in the comments and also add your preferred location for pickup. I will try to send some out today and tomorrow. Most of them, though, won't go out until Monday. But if you're one of the first 15 people who tell me your opinion on the whole best books of 2020 thing and your location for pickup, then I will be sure to get you a free book. All right. Okay, so I finished The Lady Upstairs by Haley Sutton last night. I have a full review up on Goodreads. I liked it. I think it's good. I think it's worth reading. It's a noir set in LA, and our main character is part of a trio of blackmailers. They get the names of powerful men in LA from their boss, whom none of them have ever met. She's called the Lady Upstairs. And they proceed to blackmail, usually involving seduction, and con him, seduce him, blackmail him, try to steal a little bit of his power in doing this. And then when one of their cons goes wrong, our main character, Joe, is sent just reeling, just constantly trying to put everything together to figure it out and to come up with some money before the Lady Upstairs realizes things have gone wrong. There's a lot that's good about the book. I think particularly somewhere around the halfway point, it got really exciting and really hard to put down. And I just sort of flew through it at that point. If the book has flaws, it's sort of in the first half of the book, even though the book starts out really exciting because you're in the middle of one of the cons right as it goes wrong. Because that action is in the very first chapter of the book, you then sort of backpedal for a lot of pages going over the exposition another writer would have put in the beginning of the book. So from that first event to the next really big event, I think is like a lot of the book. It's almost half of the book that you have to get through. The situation is still really interesting and is still really engaging to read. But one of the other problems I had with it is that our main character makes a really weird decision when that con goes wrong. One of their trio just didn't show up. And as a result, she doesn't have the proof she needs to put in front of this man to blackmail him. And maybe this is like the librarian in me and the sort of personality that I have, but she doesn't tattle on him to the other member of their trio or to the lady upstairs. If she wanted to tattle to the lady upstairs, it would be difficult because she doesn't have direct contact with her. But why she doesn't tell the other member of their trio, who she is arguably closer to than she is to him, doesn't ever really make sense. The only way in which it makes sense is that if she had, then the book wouldn't have happened. So that was a little distracting in the beginning, but the whole idea of this book, and I think it's possible it might be a series, of setting noir in the modern day and focusing on the injustice of the patriarchy and the power of men in film and the power of men in big business in general is really interesting. And I think she gets a lot out of it in the story, because noir is always about a sort of bitter but moral person who is trying to make their way through a corrupt world where the elites are controlling everything, or a few powerful people are running conspiracies to control everything. And that works in Los Angeles extremely well in the modern day when you make it about gender politics. So I think the book is worth reading, but be aware that it does have some sort of plotting flaws. Next up, I think I'm going to read either The Mystery of Mrs Christie, which we talked about, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I got a copy on NetGalley, so I'll be able to read that early, or if Ready Player 2 comes in, which is supposed to come out today. But if it comes in, then I might read that. We'll see. We'll see which one I get into. We are buying I Want to Be Where the Normal People Are by Rachel Bloom, both as a book and as an audiobook. I bet it's going to be really funny as an audiobook. So if you want to put a hold on that, it's in our catalog. The book hasn't arrived yet, though. We are also buying The Lady Upstairs by Haley Sutton. It has come out. I think it came out last week, but we don't have the books yet, but you can put a hold on it. All right. Let's move on to 5 Christmas titles from 2020 that are still available at MPL. Constant talking. I need tea. All right. First up, The Christmas at Holiday House by Rayam, Thane. Okay, so this is a Christmas romance from a very popular author. She's a bestseller. It's about a young widowed nurse who's offered a chance at a temporary job in a different city, taking care of a friend's grandmother, and she takes it because she wants a bit of a change for her and her son. When she gets there, it turns out the grandmother doesn't feel she needs a ton of care, but needs help decorating for Christmas in her massive historic mansion, which is a fantasy job if ever there was one. But then the grandmother's grandson arrives, and he's very bah humbug and cranky about love. So naturally, these two will fall in love. The readers on Goodreads seem to really like it. It came in at a solid 4 stars. We have 2 copies available, one at Maine and one at Moore. And that was Christmas at the Holiday House. Okay. One More for Christmas is a new title this year by Sarah Morgan. She has written another really popular Christmas book from a couple of years ago called The Christmas Sisters. I got that here. And we have Christmas Sisters in like 6 or 7 of our branches, so that's very accessible. One More for Christmas is about 2 sisters who like to celebrate the holiday together, And one of the reasons they like to be together, obviously, is their family and they love each other, but they didn't have Christmases very much when they grew up. So they get to sort of create the Christmas they would have wanted to have had. They end up with a surprise guest for their Christmas this year, which is their estranged mother. So it's ultimately going to be about their relationship, about dealing with the past and healing from it and developing a new relationship with people you're already related to. We also have Christmas Sisters on audiobook. That's the other one I forgot. But One More for Christmas has 1,000 reviews on Goodreads, and they're coming out at an average of 4 stars. It's currently available at Maine, Moore, and Parkway. All right. Princess for Christmas, a bit fantasy, a bit fairy tale, by Jenny Holiday, the very appropriately named author. This is about a hard-nosed New York cabbie who picks up a damsel in distress. She is, what is her name? Princess Marie of Endovia, which I feel like after Princess Diaries, it's always going to be Endovia or Genovia for some small European country that you can have a princess to be from. But anyway, the fate of Endovia is on Princess Marie's shoulders because her mother has passed away and her father is really dealing with the grief. Pretty much is overwhelmed by the grief. She offers to pay the cabbie to drive her around for the rest of her trip in New York. And even though they're opposites, they find that they're attracted to each other. It's got a high 3 stars from about 200 reviews on Goodreads. It's currently available at Parkway or Tomaville. All right, it's a very different Christmas title, but I think an interesting one. This is Gregory Maguire's A Wild Winter Swan. McGregor generally does reimaginings of classic stories and fairy tales. He wrote Wicked, which is, of course, about the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba, from The Wizard of Oz. In A Wild Winter Swan, our main character, Laura, lives on the Upper East Side with her parents after her brother's death. Because of her grief, she's been acting out at school and causing problems. There's problems with her grandparents that they aren't necessarily sharing with her. And then a handsome boy swan lands on their roof. He is missing one of his wings. So Laura decides to hide him while she tries to make him another wing. It's considered magical realism. And this is a reimagining of Hans Christian Andersen's The Wild Swans, which I don't know much about. But if you want A Wild Winter Swan, it is right now at West Parkway, Moore, and Grand Bay, the brand new Grand Bay. But we're also buying it on audio. The audiobooks haven't arrived yet, but if you wanted to put your name on it, you could, because we've got the record up. All right. This is one of the reasons I decided to do this list, because I could not believe that this book is still on the shelf. And admittedly, it's only on the shelf here and at Sam's. But this feels like such a fun title. I don't understand why we don't have a holds list a mile long for it. It is the Countdown to Christmas from the Hallmark Channel. Of course, there's sort of behind the scenes stuff about the Hallmark Christmas movies. But the thing that I thought was really fun is that they've got a bunch of recipes. They've got like 45 recipes in here. They've got decorating tips, gift wrapping tips, quizzes to test your knowledge of Hallmark Christmas movies, and a guide to hosting a watch party, which is a thing we may not be able to do this year because of pandemic, but their guide for hosting includes bingo cards and shareable memes. And that feels like something you can share with people while being socially distanced. So you could send it to them and agree to watch the same Hallmark movie at the same time and maybe make different recipes or something and compare notes. When I flip through it, this book just looks like a lot of fun. And if you like Hallmark movies, I'm sure it will be a good time. You should check it out. But Maine and Sims both have copies. All right. As you well know, we will be closed Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving, not for kart racing. Next week, I will come back and we'll do the beginning of the January titles, probably January hits. If you want to win a free book, tell me whether or not you prefer December to be all January titles, or if you want a 2020 best of episode. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. Exit out of here and go over here. No, go over here.